Season of the Worthy finishes tomorrow, and I think we can all agree that it was a pretty lackluster season. However, the highlight for me was the live event that was on Saturday, which involved Rasputin eventually blowing up the Almighty, which you could witness from the tower. There was a lot of feedback regarding this event from people on Twitter, Reddit, YouTube, anywhere, and it was pretty much in unison saying it should not have lasted as long as it should have, and I will echo that feedback in saying that the event itself shouldn't have lasted an hour and a half. It lasted from 6 o'clock to half 7 UK time, which is an hour and a half, which is way too long. And I personally think, as well as a lot of other people, it should have lasted about half an hour, maybe 45 minutes. The reason I say 45 minutes is because the first 30 minutes of the event was meant to be a grace period, according to Bungie. And I think that could be shortened down to 15 minutes and then have the actual event be half an hour, or have the event start at 6 on the dot and have the missiles be the sort of grace period, and then at 15 minutes in, the explosions start happening and all that stuff. So, moral of the story is it should be a lot shorter than an hour and a half. It's way too long. People thought they were messing up, and yeah, it was way too long to wait, considering they told people 6 o'clock, UK time at least. Besides that, the event was handled very well. The approach of the Almighty to the tower was pretty cool seeing that, however it could have been done more frequently, as I'll get into later on. It disappearing from Mercury at the start of the season was also pretty cool, however it could have been done in stages, as I will get into as well. Once the live event actually got going and the Almighty started exploding, it was really cool, and I think that's when the live event really started going well, is when the Almighty, the explosions started happening around like the hull area, like the center of the Almighty, and then the big explosion and the core just started flying towards the tower. That was obviously the best part of the live event, but it was kind of semi-let down by just it taking so long to lead up to it. It could have been a bit shorter. And I think one of the best parts about it as well is the community aspect. Obviously with Fortnite and everything, for the live events in Fortnite, for example, you would load into a match and there's going to be 100 people in your Fortnite match, right? There's always going to be 100 people in your Fortnite match, more or less. And when you're watching a live event there, it's no different from being in an actual Battle Royale game. There's the same amount of people in your game. It's just they're all around a concentrated area. Whereas with the tower in Destiny, you can have any number of people in your lobby. It doesn't, because you're not joining a match, you're joining a social space. So there could be anywhere from just you, or to like 20 people, I don't know what the max is, but 20 or 30 people I think. One of the best parts of Saturday during the live event was just having the chat on PC at least, just being filled with people typing away and like talking with each other and everything, which was amazing to see. Everyone emoting. There was a one stage during the event where nothing was happening, so someone said crouch to get the Almighty to blow up, and the entire lobby just started crouching up and down repeatedly. And I think that sort of aspect, it was really cool, having the community involved in it. I think if nothing else is taken away from this event is that the community aspect was just amazing. And even though the event itself may have been slightly let down by the build-up to it, the hour-long build-up to it, I think just the community aspect was amazing, and that's one of the highlights of the event for me. So let's just go back to the start of the season. A few weeks into the season, the Almighty moved from Mercury's skybox, and it practically has vanished. There is no progress, it just disappeared. I think this could be handled better. I think it should have moved in a period of maybe a week, maybe a few days, something like that. It should have moved along the skybox suddenly, and when it got far enough away, you wouldn't be able to see it anymore. So I think that's the first thing that they could have improved. Just instead of the Almighty disappearing from the skybox of Mercury, it should have moved in stages like they did with the tower, with it approaching the tower. I think that should have been done with Mercury, not just the tower. I also think that after it disappeared from Mercury's skybox, it should have been updated on Rasputin's bunker screen, which shows the pyramids getting closer. I think it should have been on the other end of that screen, between Mercury and Earth. Having the Almighty's progress would have been pretty good, because it would have made it a bit more cohesive, the season, because it felt like between the Almighty moving from Mercury's skybox to it actually arriving in the tower, it felt more like season of watching the pyramids get closer instead of season of like the Almighty's gonna get blown up. So it kind of shifted the focus of the season, and I think it should have been visible on the radar screen in the bunkers, because I don't know why it wasn't, but I think that would have been a much better way to do it. I think you should have been able to see its progress, and then we would have been able to say, here, a few weeks before the end of the season, it'll be visible in the tower. So I think that's how they should have done that. The actual approach to the tower, I think, could have been handled a tad better. So obviously, it became visible a fortnight ago on Weekly Reset, and it stayed in the exact same position, didn't change at all. Now, it might have got a bit darker, that's besides the point, it didn't move. And then week after, literally a week later, it got really close, and then last Saturday it was incredibly close. I think they could have handled this a bit better by, obviously, ideally it would be a daily thing, where we would update in real time, but that's not practical at all, because imagine how many skyboxes you would have to have. I'm assuming it's different skyboxes and not just an object getting closer. So you would have to have a bunch of skyboxes in a bunch of different positions, and I don't think that's practical. I think they should have done it every 3 to 4 days. So at first it's visible on Tuesday, and it's small as you can see it in the first few days, well, in the first week actually. Then on Friday or Saturday at reset time, it then moves closer, and then on Weekly Reset it gets closer again, and then on Saturday, which was the event, it gets to its closest stage. I think that's how they should have done it, having one more progress thing, because it felt as though for the first week, is it actually going to get closer? You know, you didn't really know, so I think if they had have had it move on Friday or Saturday, probably Saturday, seems how the live event moved it closer, and that was on a Saturday, then I think that would have been a bit better, just having one more stage, or I don't know, maybe having it moved 3 times a week, 2 times a week. I think that would have been better. The Almighty also wasn't visible enough, I personally think, when it was visible in the tower, because for the first week you could hardly see it. I could barely see it. You had to lower your brightness all the way down, and if you didn't want to edit a recording or a picture or screenshot or whatever, you had to move the Almighty into the dark area around your screen to actually see it properly. So the fact that I had to edit the video and everything to make it darker so you could see it better is just stupid, and it should have been much more visible than it actually was. I think once you hit stage 2, where it was a good bit closer, I think that was okay, but the initial stage 1, and probably stage 2 as well, should have been significantly clearer, significantly more visible for stage 1 and slightly more visible for stage 2. Now, it being really close in stage 3 was incredible. Just looking up at the Almighty eclipsing the sun was really cool to look at, but it should have been way more visible from the very start. And, you know, you shouldn't have had to waited a week or a week and a half to properly see it. So they should have made it a lot more visible, and I shouldn't have had to have edited those videos for people to see it. So, yeah. So that's about it. Just to round it up, I'm really looking forward to any future live events from Bungie. I highly doubt they won't do another live event. I think they will definitely do another live event, maybe as soon as next season, hopefully. I would imagine next season, if it's about the pyramids arriving, potentially, they could do a live event akin to watch the pyramids approach Titan, or watch the pyramids approach Io and do something. And you could have them moving towards the planet for a week or 2 prior to it, like they did with the Almighty getting closer, but having it update 4 or 5 times before the actual event. They get closest on the event day, an hour before the event, and then the event lasts about half an hour, 45 minutes, and there's actual shorter stages, and it's just more kind of compact. I think that's how they should do it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section. I would love to hear any feedback about this. I personally think the event was really cool. However, obviously there's a bit of improvements that could be done to it. But as a first go, as a first attempt, I think it was pretty good. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please consider leaving a like, maybe even subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one.